Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learned along the way. Hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today I am going to be talking all things jewelry and how we use jewelry to really bring out the very best of us, to be feeling beautiful from the inside to the outside, and how we show up every day. I'm going to be talking to Beverly Price, who is the founder of Nastava Artist and Jewelry. And welcome to the program, Beverly.
Thank you so much for having me, Annie.
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. So I know you've had decades in corporate America. You had an incredible job and journey while navigating the challenges when you were a young mum, and we're going to be talking about that. But tell us right at the beginning, what is Nastava Jewelry, and what was the reason that you actually brought that company into being?
Absolutely. Well, I had actually given my daughters a gift certificate to a jewelry making shop, and they liked it, and I fell in love and became obsessed. And in all my years of corporate America, I didn't get to do much that was creative in terms of making things with my hands. And so when I fell in love, it gave me an energy and a drive that I hadn't felt in years. And a woman at my business saw the jewelry that I had made for myself and said, "That's beautiful. You ought to make that and sell it." And that was the nudge I needed to create my own business. And about a year later, I decided to go full time and leave corporate America and create Nastava Artisan Jewelry. And it's named after my two daughters and my mother. So Nastava has the Na from Natalie, the Sta from Stephanie, and the Va from Virginia, or Natalie, Stephanie, Virginia. And that's how the name came to be as well.
Absolutely beautiful. I love the origins of that. There's been so much thought put into it. It brings the whole family or all your loved ones into what you do every day, which is actually just showing up. That moment when you actually, was that a surprise when you bought a gift certificate for a daughter for jewelry, and all of a sudden you're like, hello, I love this so much. Why did you become obsessed? What triggered in you that it became an obsession?
Well, it was not only the beauty of the stones, it was the energy I got from them when I touched them. And it was also almost like they spoke to me and said, "We want to be arranged this way, and we want you to create this." So I don't design from the current fashion trend or from a picture of another designer, but I actually work from the stones and working them together into almost a collaboration, if you will, and absolutely love it for what it does for me. My hope is that it makes the women who wear it feel as good about themselves as I feel when I make it.
So beautiful. I love that. I love that when you've got a gift. I often think that at Christmas time or for a birthday, it's like, I'd love to even keep it myself, like it's so good. And it's so specifically, it's my love involved in it. And it's also exactly what I know the recipient will actually want to receive. That's just that priceless moment, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yes.
So do you then, when you're arranging those stones, what sort of process do you go by? Do you say I'm the woman who's coming in and I actually just want a piece of jewelry that really represents, my inner essence. It's such an important part, whether it's a ring or a necklace or something. Do you do that whole scope, like I suppose like a fashion designer would be? What colors do you like? What are you trying to achieve? Or do you actually use more of an intuitive sort of perspective to actually go, this is what I see coming out of you? How does that process work?
Well, typically I would ask them if there's an occasion or an outfit that they're looking to complement. And then I would do much what we're doing now. If I'm not near them, I would do a Zoom call and ask them to try on that outfit. And I get the feel for the entire picture of the woman. And then I design to that. She can share with me, does she like short necklaces or long necklaces, or big and bold or smaller? If she has some favorite stones and favorite colors, I certainly want that input. But I really try to design to create a comprehensive look and feel for her based on what she wants to wear it with and for.
What happens when that woman actually picks up that piece of jewelry? You know, you've had that time together, you've got that connection, you've created something for her, and she walks in and actually receives it and puts it on. What's that moment like for you as the person who's created it?
Oh, for me, it's hard to put into words because it's as if I created something just for her.
Hmm.
And it's to see her light up. Usually, a common response from a customer is when they touch it and see it, they go, wow. And because it's so substantial and it's not plastic and it's not like costume jewelry at all. It's investment quality jewelry. And so they touch it and they just see it and go, wow. So for me, to see that reaction, to hear them say, I feel so good when I'm wearing it, gives me this sense of not only self confidence, but self satisfaction as well, that I was able to help another woman on her journey.
Priceless, absolutely priceless moment. I know that with key feature pieces that I've got, you know, and some of them actually is, yes, very old and traditional. It reminds me of my grandmother, or, you know, and I've got one little one on my finger that I twiddle because it reminds me of that. Things that are significant, like the way that you've put your names, your children's names, your company, you know, it might be that stone that just reminds you of a place that you've been, or your favorite color and things of that nature. And I just absolutely love that. So when women then have this moment and they love the piece, but what is the transformation journey? I know you work more extensively as well as the jewelry. It actually is about bringing out, you know, the very best of that woman, and that you know, a journey of self-empowerment, if you like. So what sort
Absolutely.
of, how do you work with women in that way? And so it's rather than just, you know, like a piece of jewelry and then I receive it and it looks beautiful with my new outfit, you know, what other transformations are happening, and what are you trying to help that woman with in her personal journey?
Well, the things I'm really interested in are what the woman feels inside. Does she feel beautiful? You know, research shows that less than 3% of women actually consider themselves beautiful. And that's really a shame. So I work with her to kind of bring that out and talk to her about her inner beauty and how the piece connects with her inner beauty. And by feeling beautiful, that can lead to confidence, and confidence can lead to success.
Yes.
So if we have so few women feeling beautiful, we have a real shortage of them feeling successful. So that's really what I want to deal with, is to help those women kind of cross over that feeling so they can see their inner beauty and then become more empowered.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Isn't that a tragic statistic that only 3%
Yes,
of women?
very.
It is just gobsmacking to me. That's probably an
Yes.
Australian term, but it is absolutely, it's just like, wow, how sad. That is incredibly sad. And yes, the jewelry is, you know, a piece that you could buy a new pair of shoes, or you could get jewelry, you know, a new outfit or whatever. So it is a part of that, bringing out that part, but it's more about what it then represents in you, and says, you know, if I feel good in this piece, because it does, you know, channel the energy that I have, or my personality, or the way I want to show up to the world. It's that onward journey that piece does, that actually helps women transform, go from that 3% to actually go, yeah, that's right. You know, I pop on a piece, you know, and it actually reminds me that I am beautiful, that I am, you know, worthy, that I can be more confident, I can become more successful. And your journey shows that incredibly well. I'd love you to tell the listeners then about that time. I know we've both got older kids now in our and 30s, but when you were juggling, when you, I know you're a single mom juggling a couple of kids when you're working in that corporate space. And so how challenging was that for you? And what was the difference then when you did that transformation, which is risky, it is challenging to become an entrepreneur? You know, I'm sure everyone was saying, hey, don't do it. You know, they certainly did me. You know, there's a lot of risk because you've got a lot of responsibilities, but you're also in that stage that I know many of our listeners are actually in that stage of going, oh my gosh, but I'm juggling everything and it is really hard. So what was that time of life for you like?
Well, it is incredibly hard. And, you know, if you think about it, you only have so much time in the day. So if you've got work, and if you're driven and working hard and long hours, and then you have your children and you want to be the best parents you can be, then that doesn't leave a whole lot of time for anything else. And one of my biggest mistakes during that period was only focusing on those two things. I didn't save any time to develop friendships or build a support system. So that's really important, I think, when you're a woman in business, whether you're in corporate America or whether you're an entrepreneur, but particularly when you're an entrepreneur, because there's so many emotional ups and downs to creating that business that I think having a support system is just absolutely essential. But I think that if a woman is in that position, yes, it is hard. And the question she needs to ask herself is she willing to do whatever she needs to do to live out her dream at this time? Or is it more appropriate for her to wait a little while and then do it a little bit later? Just because I say not now doesn't mean not ever. It just means not now.
It definitely does. And my journey, you know, I was sharing with you before, I had 5 children, including 2 sets of twins. And so I navigated 3 degrees to C-suite and then becoming an entrepreneur. And some of that, that's right, took years and years and years and years, because you're picking those moments. You're picking those moments to bold, to make key decisions. When other people aren't backing you, you've got to get to a stage where you're backing yourself, and you've got those challenges when you don't have that certainty and you've got other people not supporting you. I know I certainly had a family who preferred, that stable day job. That's what you should be doing. And so it can be, for those listening in, it is that moment when you're actually choosing to do that. And I do that with women, obviously, in the Women's Business Incubator, and with the tribe that supports them from my end. So for you had Little E's, and then, so what was that like? You then, you started to set up your business, and you did what I absolutely love and respect, is you took a year to do that while keeping your day job. And then you had that moment of actually saying, okay, I'm gonna now, back myself. How hard was that? And what was that feeling like, just so that other people appreciate they're not alone there?
Well, it was interesting because my plan had been to wait 2 more years until my girls were in college when I did that. And there was just a day, it was like any other day. And I was sitting at my desk, and it just came to me that you've had enough here. You've learned a lot, but now it's time to try something different. And now is the time for you. And like I said, when I received nudges from the universe, when that woman said to me, you ought to sell it, when different people said different things to me, I decided to take the leap. It was hard in particular because my family had always instilled in me that a 9-to-5 job was the only way to operate, that entrepreneurship was bad, it was risky, and that only people were entrepreneurs if they couldn't hold a 9-to-5 job. And so I had all these little voices in my head talking to me at the same time that I almost had to have a little fist fight with, to say, no, I want to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be a success at it.
Yeah. And I think it's about pushing through that, which is really hard. So those listening in, and you've got those voices in your head, you've got that voice of reason from, a parent or someone that you respected who says, you want to have that certainty, that security, it's risky, how will you be successful? So to get to that stage where you pushed through and you stepped into that, a future that you desired, because then you got all those other benefits, the flexibility, the time.
Yes.
But you do have to back yourself. What I love from your journey, which I know represents so many women around the globe now who actually might be choosing to do this in their 40s or 50s or even 60s, going, you know what, I have all this experience. And I know for you, you know, particularly your background, you know, you've had HR, you've had sales, you've had marketing, you've had, you know, accounts, you've had all this experience that is so valuable and so easy to then sort of just readjust into becoming a successful entrepreneur. What did you grab from that? What tools did you think, I'm so glad I learned these things, because they weren't as challenging as they could have been if you just sort of started early on?
Well, I definitely think organization and time management's a huge one, because as an entrepreneur, you have to do everything, and trying to organize your time so that, for example, if I take all my time making jewelry, there's no time to sell the jewelry.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I learned organization and time management. I learned sales, which is absolutely critical because you're selling yourself all the time. And marketing in terms of social media now. Of course, that's new compared to when I was in corporate America, but email marketing, website marketing, that type of thing. I brought a marketing perspective and an eye for quality. I wanted to create jewelry that was very high end, was very substantial, and that was nothing like costume jewelry. So that was something I needed to develop, that high end marketing that's different if you were just doing something with a very low price point.
Yeah. So just to actually start a business that is going to be high end, you know, you've really gone and chosen your niche. It's important for you. It's got to be true quality. It's got to be a feature piece for this woman, or then, you know, if she's fortunate to have a number of feature pieces that really brings out her essence, rather than, you know, that's right, just getting costume jewelry that kind of, you know, fill up your wardrobe so that you accessorize. Gotcha. It's very different, right? So that unique value, I know from when you have been in other, you know, corporate businesses, you know how to really know what your unique value is, you know, how to actually show up and present that, you know, in your niche.
Right.
I think you've done that incredibly well. So when you took those skills and you actually put them into your own business, how hard was it when you don't then suddenly have that continuity, that consistency? You know, you can have great months and you suddenly sold a major piece and you get it on a real high, and then you then go, I've been so busy making and now I've actually spent my time and I don't know. You know, how did you adjust to the emotional roller coaster that is being an entrepreneur?
Well, I wish I could say that I totally adjusted instantly, but that is so far from the truth. It took quite a while of feeling the highs and the lows to come to understand that those are things they don't teach you in business school. That there's a whole realm of the emotional adjustment you need to make to life as an entrepreneur. And revenue being up and down, my emotions went with it. And so what I had to learn to do is try and create a little more stability in the business so that my emotions weren't so high and low. And you know, so that I manage my time, so that I manage my sales efforts. But it's still, even you do the best planning you can do, and you and I both know that plans don't always come to fruition. So I think you need patience, which is one of my least strengths. And I think you need faith that something good is going to come of this and something good is going to happen.
Beautiful advice. Absolutely beautiful advice. Because I've found that one of the biggest challenges, that you just don't get that consistency, or it takes a very long time. But even the whole entrepreneurial journey is that it'll never be that same, you know, same pay packet every week, every month. It's just not going to happen. You know, you'll have amazing months, average months, you know, months that you go, what happened there? And sometimes it doesn't correspond. You put in all this effort and it doesn't then suddenly come about. And then sometimes it's like, oh, I haven't done it, and it suddenly all catches up and something amazing will happen. So I love what you've touched on there, which is actually about saying you have to work on yourself that self-worth of going, I have to be level in my emotions and not try and let the external circumstance, the revenue in,
Exactly.
the amount on my business to be able to be affecting how I actually feel. I'm just doing business, right? So that is a hard thing. How long did it take you to actually get that gold nugget sort of just, become real to you?
Well, I don't always have that gold nugget, if I'm completely honest. I have it some days better than others. But I think it's taken probably a good couple of years. It took to be able to go through a lot of highs and lows. And the important thing is, it's not just to get stability once your business gets strong. It's the stability you need, particularly when your business is growing and not as strong, I think, because you need to be able to make rational decisions and you need to be able to adjust what you're doing for the market. So I think it took a good while for me to get that nugget, as you say, but I don't want to mislead anybody. There's still plenty of days where I ask myself, what am I doing?
I think we all have those days, and it's actually really good to share that. That's
Yeah.
you can be as together as you can imagine, and then you still have days going, whoa, what is going on?
Exactly.
It doesn't feel fair. You can take it personally because you're working so hard, and it's just like, yeah, it is a roller coaster, and all we can do is actually just become more aware of it, put some interventions into it, definitely manage self-care and self-emotions and gratitude and reflections and all of those great things that actually set us up to go, okay, despite what happens here, I'm going to keep leaning in, keep being thankful for what I've got and keep developing. What was it like to really put a new player into the market? Did you get pushback? Did competitors notice you were there? Did you get any resistance? Were they sort of surprised? What happened in the world of jewelry? I don't know the world of jewelry. So what was that like?
Well, there's so many jewelry designers out there. The question was, can you be different? Can you stand out? Can you be unique? And my jewelry is very different than any jewelry designer I've seen to date. Particularly in this day and time, things are a little bit more minimalist, and but others tend to do smaller pieces, and I tend to go for the big and bold, whether it's bohemian or ethnic or classic or elegant. My pieces are really statement pieces.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've tried to make an image, and that's how I've tried to make a brand. This is something that can make a statement just like you can make a statement.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's true. It's actually about, so your whole marketing, your whole positioning is actually going for that. Yeah, what statement are you trying to achieve? What is your most,
Yes.
how do you want to show up? How do you want, what jewelry actually represents who you are? I'm looking at, for those watching on YouTube, I'm looking at your jewelry and I'm feeling like I'm very bare today, just with my little gold band. So apologies, I certainly don't feel very glammed up. But yours is really beautiful because you've chosen, that's right. You've got volume, you've got, presence. That's a real feature piece. And so for you, it's about saying, yeah, that works for you. And then for someone else, what works with their colors, the types of, their skin tone, I'm imagining,
Yes.
the colors that they wear in their clothing, because you're trying to get something obviously that's not
Yes.
just for one piece, it's actually across your wardrobe, and then trying to work out, well, how will you actually wear that and be unique in that. And you definitely, as a businesswoman, want other people to be noticing it and go, oh my gosh,
Yes.
I love your necklace. Where did
Yes.
you get it? You've definitely got to go to Nastava, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Oh, I absolutely love this. Have you been able to, how has it been with your career growth then? Have you been able to employ more people? Have you brought your children into your business? What has that been like? Or are you still a solo entity?
I'm still a solo entity, but I use a lot of help on the outside. I use interns quite a bit, and I would encourage any new entrepreneur to do that, because it's not only that it helps you, but it helps them. You're teaching them about business, and they're getting practical experience as well. My daughter does help me from a marketing standpoint. She's a brilliant marketer, and I use different people along the way to help me in different things. And what I've learned is that it's important to not try and do everything.
Yeah.
Make a list of what you like to do and what you're good at. And then there are all those other things, and those other things are the first targets of what you might want somebody to do on the outside, is the things you're not good at or the things you don't like to do.
Brilliant advice. I've been talking about that a lot with my coaching clients lately, that's right. Your goal is to actually know all of the requirements of the business, and then it actually is to stay in where your genius place is, right? Whether it's creation,
Yes.
that you're spending time with your clients, bringing out their essence. You want to have that customer facing time, because I can tell by meeting you, that's, your happy place. It might be that you then go, okay, out of all of the requirements, is it actually the marketing? Is it, you're back in on your website? Is it, just following up, calls of people who might be interested in setting things in your diary? What
Right.
aspects of the business, when you are able, are you going to release so that it frees you up to be spending more and
Absolutely.
more time doing the aspects of the business that you love, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what does the future journey look like for you, Beverly? Where to now? Are you expanding into different types of, gems or stones or looks, or is it actually just saying, what, I have my business, I'm going to just perfect it and expand, just stay in my niche and do it better and better? People apply different rules to their business growth and scale, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, actually, I've taken kind of a launch from, the whole purpose of my line is to aid women on their journey from self expression to self empowerment. And now I've created a group of women to help them do that on the inside and out. And I'm creating a podcast that actually shares those stories with women, brings in speakers to share how we can address that 3% that don't consider themselves beautiful. How can we help people get more self-confidence and do that for women, and also provide a network, much the same your tribe is, provide a network for these women as well?
I love that. I love more and more global tribes. Absolutely. Because that's right. They will see how it's transformed someone else. And when you get someone who's been on that journey, they've had that lived experience and they see the value, and they're able to then put that back onto someone else who's thinking about it, considering it, it is just priceless, right? Because it's,
Yes.
it's authentic. You can feel the energy, you can feel the excitement, you can feel the love, and that cheerleader comes out in women who go, yeah, you do it. It's the best decision you're going to make. It's just
Absolutely.
like, you don't have to sell that. And I love that about all global tribes. Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, how do people find you, Beverly? What's the best way to connect with you if they're wanting to talk jewelry and find out more about what you're doing?
Sure. It's my website, www.nastavajewelry.com. That's Nastava jewelry.com. Or I'm on Instagram at Nastava_artisan_jewelry. Or I'm on Facebook at Nastava Jewelry.
Fantastic. I'll be putting all of those details on my podcast platform, also on my YouTube channel, so that anyone who's out there do they have to be in America, Beverly?
No, they don't.
Yeah, anyone around the world who's listening in on my podcast today, if you're interested in actually just having a chat, reach out to Beverly. All her contact details will be there. You can start talking about, seeing samples of what she's created, so you get a look and feel for what's possible. Talk about that whole journey of, what would it be like to actually get something created, not just to have that piece, but what it actually represents. I know Beverly would love to chat to you about that. So definitely don't be shy in connecting. Thank you so much for being on my program today, Beverly. It's been really fascinating, and I do feel a strong desire to just go in and just start thinking, when I dress up every day, what little feature piece just gives that little bit of extra. Thank you so much. For those listening in, I would love you to connect with me, do any coaching programs on the Women's Business Incubator. Also join the Women's Business Tribe. Just search with womensbiztribe.com and I'll give you a free trial to come and join my ladies around the globe as well. And I look forward to hearing about your future success, Beverly, and all of those around the globe who are choosing to just show up in a bolder, brighter way that will bring out their inner essence and be the woman that you were born to be. So thanks for being on my program, Beverly.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.